Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I am going to solve the Java coding question which was asked in CPA exam of TCS. If you are not familiar with the concepts of variables, getters and setters, access modifiers, arrays or classes and objects, I would recommend you to watch the video on the Java concepts where I have explained all the Java concepts that you need to know before attempting CPA. I have given the link to that video in the description. Please do watch that video if you're not familiar with the concept which I just mentioned. Let's continue with the code. We are going to follow these steps while writing the code. It is not mandatory that you must follow these steps, but writing code stepwise helps us to write structured code instead of writing code randomly here and there. Coming to the question, we are going to solve a question on travel agencies management. Here they have asked us to create a class with the name travel agencies. So the class name should be travel agencies and the class should have the below attributes. The attributes are register number, which is of type int, and the agency name, which is of type string, and package type, which is also of type string, price, which is of type int, flight facility, which is of type boolean. They have asked us to write getters and setters for the above attributes. They have also asked us to create a constructor which will take the parameters in the same sequence which they have mentioned here. And they have asked us to create a class called solution which will contain the main method. And also to implement two static methods, and the method names are find agency with the highest package price and agency details for given ID and type. Here they have defined what the method will take as input and what it will perform and what it will return as output. So the method named find agency with highest package price will take array of travel agencies object as input and it will return the highest package price from the given array of objects. Okay. And the second method, which is agency detail for given ID and type, this method will take three input parameters. So it will take three inputs, which is first input is the array of travel agencies objects and a integer type input, which will be register number, and third will be the input of type string, which is the package type. And the method agency details for given ID and type will return travel agencies object, which will be a single object based on the below conditions. First condition is flight facility should be available. That is, the attribute with the flight facility, the attribute with the name flight facility should be true. Okay. And the input parameters, register number and package type should match with the register number and package type of the travel agency object. Yeah. And if any of the conditions are not met, then instead of returning object, we have to simply return the null. And they have given a note here. In this note, they have mentioned that same travel agencies can have more than one package type. That means if a travel agency name, if you have a travel agency with the name A, it has a package type of platinum, then the same travel agency, which is A, it can also have a package of type gold. Okay. And the next condition is travel agency and package type combination is unique. And all the searches should be case insensitive. That is, if we compare a string called name, name, and another string called name with first letter as capital, so it should return true. Then they have specified that the static method should be called from the main method, and for find agency with highest package price method, the main method should print the highest package price as it is. Okay. And for the agency detail for given ID and type method, the main method should print the agency name and price of the returned object, and the agency name and price should be concatenated. So here they have mentioned about how the output should be formatted while printing the output. These are the inputs and outputs. Here first input is the register number, second input is the agency name, third input is the package type, fourth input is the price, and fifth one is whether they have flight facility or not. So this one entire these five rows, entire these five lines will create one object. So they have given one object here, another object here, so and one more object here, another object from here, 888 and till false. Okay, and these two, 987 and diamond, are the register number and the package types which they have given as additional input. So here they have given the output also. First they have printed 50,000. The output is 50,000 because here they have given 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 agencies, and out of 4 agencies 50,000 is the highest price. You can see here it is 30, here it is 40, and here it is 20, but this one is 50, so we have output it 50,000. For the next input we have to consider both one this 987 and diamond, and we have to iterate through this. First we'll compare 987 with 123, it's false. Then we'll compare 983 with 345, it's also false. Then we'll compare 987 with 987, it is true. Then we'll go inside and we'll compare the second parameter, which is diamond, with the package type. Here it is also diamond, so we'll return agency name followed by the price. Once we found one object, then we will not continue further, we will stop searching. So let's start coding. One more thing, in this question they have specifically asked us to create getters and setters, but I will first solve the question without using getters and setters, so that I can show you that we can also solve the question without using getters and setters. Then afterwards I will modify the code by adding getters and setters. The first step is to write the import statements. For solving any CPA question, you will be needing only one import statement, that is scanner. Scanner is used to receive input from the user. So we will write import java.util.scanner. This statement will import scanner for us. Second step is to declare the main method. In the question, they have given create class solution with the main method. So we need to create a class named solution. Inside that, we need to declare the main method. Now I'll create a class called solution by specifying public class, and remember the first letter of the class name is always capital. Once I create the class, I have to define the main method. You can define the main method by saying public static void main string args followed by opening and closing parentheses. The work of main method is to tell the Java program that the program execution starts from here, and this is how we declare the main method. Third step is to declare the class. Here they have asked to create a class called travel agencies, so our class name will be travel agencies, and it will be having 5 attributes, namely register number, agency name, package type, price, and flight facility. So I'll come outside the solution class and I'll create a class called travel agencies. The next step is to declare the variables needed along with the access modifier. The class travel agencies will have 5 properties, which are register number, agency name, package type, price, and flight facility. First one is of type integer, it is register number. Second one is of type string and the property name is agency name. Third one is also type string and the property name is package type. Fourth one is type integer, price, and the fifth property is of type boolean. That means it can take only 2 values, that is either true or false, and the property name is flight facility. While creating a class, we need to create constructor. What the constructor will do is, it will simply take the values and assign the values to the particular object. We can create a constructor by specifying class name, followed by the properties which we want to set while creating the class. So I'll name it as register number, string agency name, and string package type, and price, boolean, flight facility. Now we'll assign the values which are passed to the constructor to the respective properties of the object. This dot register number is equal to register number, this dot agency name equal to this dot package type equal to package type, this dot price equal to price, this dot flight facility is equal to flight facility. The values which the constructor receives will be assigned to the values of the object. The fifth step is to create getters and setters. For time being, I'm skipping this step just to show you that we can write the program without getters and setters and we can run it. And the next step, that is the sixth step, is to write the code to accept inputs. Go to the main method. In the main method, we'll create 5 variables, the same as these, to accept the inputs. I'll just copy these and I'll paste it here. Now, since we know we are going to receive exactly 4 objects as an input, so we'll declare the number of objects is 4. So we'll hardcode the number of objects to 4. We can do that by saying travel agencies. Since we want to make it an array of objects, so we need to put 2 brackets here, and we need to type the variable name which we want to give to refer this array. So I'll name it as travel agencies is equal to new travel agencies followed by the number of objects we want to store them. This will simply create 4 blank objects of the type travel agents. Then to receive the inputs, we need to write a for loop, that is for int I is equal to 0, I is less than travel agencies dot length. The length property will return the length of travel agencies array, then I plus plus. To take the inputs, we need to first create a scanner, that is by saying scanner and the name which you want to give to refer the scanner later. So I'll name it as SC is equal to new scanner, then system.in. This will create a scanner for us and we can access that scanner by using the name SC. So to take first input, that is register number, we can simply write register number is equals to SC dot next int. The next int is used to receive an integer. Then, since the next input which we are going to receive is a string, but the next integer function will not move the cursor to the next line, so we need to move the cursor to the next line manually. We can do that by saying se dot next line. Now the cursor will move to the next line. The next input which we want to receive is agency name, which is of type string. So we'll use se dot next line here. Then we need to accept package type se dot next line. Then the price, which is of type integer. So we have to write price is equal to se dot next int. And remember one thing, we need to add se dot next line only if the next input which we are receiving is a string immediately after the integer. Okay. Now since we are receiving a boolean after an integer, so there's no need to add se dot next line after integer. Okay. And I'll write flight facility is equal to se dot next. This time we'll use boolean. Once we receive all these 5 inputs, that's register number, agency name, package type, price, and the flight facility, we need to create an object here itself. We can do that by saying travel agencies of I, okay, is equal to new travel agencies of. Now if you remember, we have created a constructor here which will take 5 parameters: register number, agency name, package type, price, and the flight facility. So we'll pass all the inputs here: register number, agency name, package type, price, and flight facility. Once we'll revise whatever we have done. First we wrote the import statement, then we created a class called travel agencies with 5 properties. Then we created a constructor for that class. Then we created an array of objects which is of type travel agencies. Then we created a scanner reference. After that, we wrote a for loop to take the inputs from the user, which will iterate the number of times which is equal to the length of travel agencies array. Then we wrote the code to input all the variables. Then we passed those values to the constructor to create new travel agencies objects, ultimately to create the travel agencies array. Now if you remember, there are 2 additional inputs here, 987 and diamond. So we need to take those inputs also. So we'll write the code for that. First one is an integer. So we can create a variable of type integer. We'll name it as register number 1 and se dot next int, since it is an integer. And since the next input is of type string and the input which we have taken now is of type integer, so we need to move the cursor to the next line manually. For that we have to use se dot next line. Then we can take the package type by specifying string package type 1 is equal to se dot next line. Now we have taken these 2 inputs also. Now we have written the code to accept inputs. Now we'll test the code for input. Now to test the inputs, we can simply write a for loop and we can iterate through the array of objects of travel agencies and we can print the agency name. For that I'll write for when I is equal to 0, I is less than travel agency star line I plus plus, then I'll simply write system dot out dot println and travel agencies of I dot agency. Now you can test our code. So I have written the inputs here. This one is first object, second object, third object, third object, and the fourth object. So I will copy this input and I'll run the program from here. Okay. Now our program is waiting for the input. So I'll simply paste the input here, paste, and I'll press enter. You can see here it's printing all the agency names. This confirms that our code is working fine. Seventh step is to declare the methods. In the question, they have asked us to implement two static methods, find agency with highest package price and agency details for given ID and type. They have specified that find agency with highest package price method will take array of travel agencies objects as input and it will return the highest package price from the given array of objects. And the method agency details for given ID and type will take in three input parameters, travel agencies objects, then register number and package type. And they specify that travel agencies object will return a single object or null based on the conditions. Now we will declare the methods. Outside the main method, inside the class, we'll declare a static method. That is public static, and they specified it returns the highest package price from the given array of object. Since the package price is of type integer, so we need to specify here return type as integer and the method name is find agency with highest package price. Find agency with highest package price. Now this method will take an array of travel agencies objects as input. First we need to specify the type, which is of type travel agencies array and the variable through which we are going to receive the parameter is travel agencies. For now we can return a 0. You can modify this once we implement the logic. Then we have to create one more method, that is public static, and this method will return travel agencies object. So we are going to return our travel agencies object. So we need to specify travel agencies as return type here. Then the method name is agency details for given ID and type. Agency details for given ID and type. This method will take three parameters, array of travel agencies objects. So we can specify it by saying travel agencies then an integer or register number, then a parameter of type string or package type. String package type. For now we can return null. The next step is to write the actual logic inside the methods. So find agency with highest package price method. They are asking us to return the highest package price from the array of objects. So what we are supposed to do is, so the logic which we are going to follow is, first we'll assign the highest package price as 0. Then we'll iterate through the array of objects. First what we'll do is, first it will go to the first object, then we'll see the rise property and we'll compare. Is 50,000 greater than 0? Yes. So we'll assign 50,000 to the highest package price variable. Then we'll go to the next object and we'll check whether 30,000 is greater than 50,000, which is false. So our variable highest package price will remain 50,000. Then we'll go to the next object. Then finally we'll go to the last object and we'll compare whether 20,000 is greater than the current highest package price, which is 50,000 for now. No. So we will return 50,000 from the method. First we need to declare the variable highest package price and we'll assign it to 0. That is int highest package price equal to 0. Now we'll iterate through the array of objects by using for loop. For int I is equal to 0, I is less than travel agencies dot length I plus plus. Now what we're supposed to do is, first we'll compare if current objects, if the current object's price is greater than the current highest, I'll just copy paste this one, current highest price. We are checking if the current object's price is greater than the highest package price. If yes, then we'll modify the highest package price to current object's price. Once we have iterated through all the objects, we'll finally return the highest package price. Now we are done with find agency with highest package price method. The next method which we have is agency details for given ID and type. So the agency details for given ID and type method is taking these parameters as input and it will return the travel agency's objects based on the below conditions. So first condition is flight facility should be available. Only if the flight facility is available, then we'll check whether the agency's registration number and package type match the parameters which we received. Otherwise we'll return null once we iterate through all the travel agency's objects. First we need to write a for loop to iterate through the travel agency's array. For int I is equal to 0, I is less than travel agency start length I plus plus. Now first we'll check the first condition, that is the flight facility available. We can do that by using the if condition. If current travel agency has a flight facility, this if condition will return true. If the if condition return true, then the code inside the body of if condition will execute. That is, inside the body we will check if travel agency's ID, that is registration number, is equal to the registration number which we received from here. Okay, we need to put double equals here since we're comparing. We need to check for another condition, so we are using AND operator here. Once if the travel agency's register number matches, then we will go and check the next condition, that is if travel agency's package type. Since we are comparing two strings here and we want to compare two strings without taking its case into consideration, that is we need to perform a case insensitive comparison. So we will use a built-in function which is equals ignore case. Equals ignore case. This function will compare the current travel agency's package type with the argument which we'll pass here. So we'll pass the package type which we received, and it compares these two without considering its case. Okay, and if this comparison succeeds, we will directly return the objects, that is return travel agencies profile. That's it. And if none of the object matches, we won't be having any object to return, so we are supposed to return null here. Since they have asked in the question, if any of the above conditions are not met, then method should return null. Okay. The next step is print the result inside method. This is an optional step. This step is just to confirm that our logic is working fine. Otherwise, you can directly go to the, if you don't want to do this, you can directly go to the step number 10, where you will return the result and you will print the result in the format specified by calling the static method. So to check whether, so I'll check for just one method to check whether this method is working fine or not. We'll make the return type from int to void. Okay, and instead of returning, I'll comment that I'll just simply print, that is system dot out dot print ln highest package price. Okay, now to call this method, after receiving inputs, I will delete this for loop. I use this for loop just to check whether it's accepting inputs properly or not, so I'll delete this and I will simply call the method find. I'll just copy paste the name here. Okay, and I will pass the travel agencies. I will pass travel agencies here. Now if I run the program, I need to give the input, so I will just paste it the input and press it. You can see here I got 50,000. That means the code is working fine and I can return the value. So I will just delete this call. I will delete that call and I will make the return type as integer here. I will delete this printing and I'll return whatever the method has calculated. Now to call this method, we simply need to use the method name, then pass the arguments which it needs. It needs an array of objects, which is travel agencies. Then Once, if we do just this much, we won't be able to use the value which was returned by the method. So we need to store the value, that is the integer value which this method is returning, in a variable. So I'll create a variable int highest package price is equal to, and now I can just print the highest package price. Okay, system dot out dot println highest package price. Now we have to call the second method also. So I'll just copy and paste method name here, and we need to pass 3 arguments here: travel agencies and registration number which we received from the input, and the package type. Since this method returns travel agencies object, so we need to create a variable of type travel agencies object to store the object which is being returned by that method. So I'll write travel agencies, travel agency one equal to. Now they have given the format in which we are supposed to print the output, that is the agency name and price should be concatenated with colon. So I will write system dot out dot println travel agency one dot agency name is one dot agency name. Then I use concatenation operator. I put colon, then travel agency one dot price. Now this should work. So I will just run the program again. I will copy the input, paste it, and press enter. You can see here we got 50,000 and Cox and Kings 40,000, which was the required output. Okay. So I'll just once again revise the concepts. First we wrote import statement. Okay, then we created a class called solution, then declared a main method inside it. Then we created a class called travel agencies. We declared variables and the constructor. Then we came inside the main method. We created an array of objects. Okay, then we created a scanner reference. Then we wrote a for loop inside which we wrote the logic to accept the inputs and store those inputs in array of objects. Then we wrote the logic to accept the other two inputs. Then we declared the static methods with the return types. Here it is int, here it is travel agencies. Then we wrote the actual logic which they have asked for. Okay, then we return whatever was required by that method. Finally, we tried to print the result inside the method, and once we verified the output, we called the methods and we stored the value which was received from that method, finally outputted that value. So this was solution for the question of travel agencies management. I will modify this code by adding getters and setters. I've solved this question without using getters and setters. I've created another video where I have added getters and setters to this code. The link to that video is in the description. If you liked my video, please consider subscribing, and thank you for watching.